Hi, it's Jerald. Remember me? I'm the guy. I'm one of the dudes who does these podcasts where we talk about romantic comedies as dudes. Oh man. So this week, you may notice that only one person was introduced and nobody cackled in the background, slightly suggestively that we all know that something bad is happening. And by that I mean we sat through a horrible movie. Well, that's because I'm the only one who sat through a horrible movie. Thank God I didn't have to sit through it twice. But I sat through a horrible movie this week, guys. It's bad. And I was abandoned this week by my fellow dude Dennis because he got sick. So he says, guys. It's 12 o'clock on a Thursday. I got to go to work in the morning, and I'm tired. And I've had to do a lot of stuff because. Okay, before we get into this movie, I'm gonna do a thing. This is kind of like an ad, but not really an ad. I've been somewhat hard at work editing all these videos for a lovely Indiegogo campaign for Rosarium Publishing, which is a publishing company. They make some books and some comic books of various diverse topics and people. It's my brother's company. It's my family duty to help out. And if you want to know what Rosarium is about, well, they, like I just said, they make awesome comic books and awesome books about diverse topics and diverse things. Things such as The End of the World is Rye, where an angel comes down to Earth and basically kickstarts the apocalypse for the sake of a good sandwich. What wouldn't you do for a good sandwich? Oh, and the bread. I'm sure it's artisan bread. Man. I'm getting a little hungry. There's Coontown Killing Caper. That is a personal favorite, probably because I did the cover of that one, where a former supermodel, former homicide detective, private eye, has to stop vampire crack babies who have infested Coontown. So stuff happens. There's a bunch of comic books. Malice in Ovenland is about a girl who gets trapped in Ovenland. Her name is Malice. She meets all kind of weird people and stuff. Well, they're not people. They're like ghouls and the bad parts of fatty diets. Jennifer's Journal. It's about Jennifer. It's a journal of life, and it's interesting. Look, just go to rosariumpublishing.com. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's an Indiegogo campaign, which I will probably put a link somewhere at the bottom of this or in the description of this, because this is an audio thing, so you can't put it in the description of the article on the thing, or possibly in the iTunes that you got this from. You go into the About thing, and then there will be a link there, unless I forget to do it, which is totally possible, because again, it is late. Anyway, on to this movie. Okay, let's talk about The Bounty Hunter. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this really quickly, because this is a movie that is terrible. It's so bad. I thought last week was bad, and I was like, oh, let me go lighter, because this one has gunfire. It can't be worse. It's not worse, but it's bad. It's bad. It's got Jennifer Aniston. I just hit the mic. It's got Jennifer Aniston and Gerard Butler. She's playing a girl from Friends, a woman from Friends, who has big hair, but since hair has gone flat, and she may or may not have gone through the change. We don't really know. And Gerard Butler is playing Leonidas, but who is apparently immortal, and let himself go a bit, so he doesn't have like rock hard abs, but he also hasn't had to shave his chest daily, but not his face. He's actually done the reverse. He's shaved his face and left his chest all hairy. I think maybe he took his shirt off. I don't know. I don't remember. It's honestly been a week since I watched this movie. Because my fellow dude has decided to catch ill, possibly, or not, possibly. Maybe he just watched the trailer on the internet and decided that I'm not doing that. In which case, he is a smarter man than me, because I watched this movie anyway. Right after watching, no wait, right before watching, and then right after watching, because I split the difference, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, which is not a great movie. It's not good, and this is terrible. So it was really just a bad day all around. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so Gerard Butler, who is Gerard Butler, used to be a cop, not a cop anymore. Why is he not a cop anymore? We're not going to talk about it. Who really knows? I couldn't tell you. They didn't really get really clear into it. He either quit or was fired, which is how you leave any job, really. And now he is basically an alcoholic with a gambling problem. Are we going to talk about these things in any real way, like it's Punch Drunk Love? I assume I never saw Punch Drunk Love. I hear it was good. No, we're not going to deal with it in any meaningful way. We're just going to talk about it, and it's going to be part of a plot point that's going to happen that's just there for comedy, laughs, chuckles. And we're not going to deal with any of his personal problems, except for her, which is clearly one of his personal problems. And then Jennifer Aniston. She's a reporter. I guess she's possibly just a private eye, maybe, who works for a newspaper. I mean, she's a reporter. That's what they call her. But I'm pretty sure she's doing just stakeouts and getting into, like, real investigative stuff, but not like our journalist. She doesn't really ask questions as much as she just becomes a part of the story. But look, we start out, Gerard Butler, what does he do? We need to show that he is somehow capable of doing his job, except we show that he's capable of doing his job by making him do his job in a really bad fashion, by ruining a parade, by taking out Uncle Sam, who's on stilts, and setting fire to a float, and maybe, or maybe not, I honestly can't remember, punching a cop. He ends up in jail, where his former partner, which is when we find out he used to be a cop, shows up to be his black friend and bail him out. He's got a black friend. They have to have one in a movie so that we know that this movie isn't racist, even though they found a way to hire one minority to play apparently like just the entire population of the entire minority population of New York and New Jersey. They have one black person and they all have to share him, which is why they have one black friend, and the two main characters share that one black friend. That's awesome. Anyway, so Gerard Butler bounty hunts his way into catching a guy, and then bounty hunts his way into jail, just like Dog the Bounty Hunter, and then gets himself out by his black friend, who is still a cop, because black people can keep jobs. Gosh darn it. And then he finds out, after drinking heavily and passing out on his lone whatever guy, bail guy, whatever, that guy's couch, drunkenly just drooling over everything, finds out that A, he needs money, because again, loan sharks, because that's important for later, and then he basically finds out that, there's another bounty out there, and it's his ex-wife. Gotta be on that, man. He's gotta be on that, and he wants to be on that, and he begs for that job, and he gets that job because his boss doesn't understand that that's a conflict of interest, and this could probably go bad. So he gives him the job, and he goes after his ex-wife. How's he go after his ex-wife? Well, he breaks into her house and decides to, and this is important, guys, because I have a theory, and so far, and I don't know how long this is going to go, because maybe one day I'm just going to eat a bullet, metaphorically, and just kill the podcast, because that's what I've done with every podcast I've ever owned. How does he do this? Here's the thing. Everybody in rom-coms are just terrible people. They're just god-awful people. They're terrible human beings, and they need to get shot? No. They just need to stop making movies about terrible human beings. They're all terrible human beings. So far. We've only watched 4 movies, but they're all terrible human beings. I'm willing to go out on a limb on this one, on a very thin, wispy, stick-like limb, and say rom-coms are just full of terrible people who we are then rooting for to fall in love, and we feel good about it, theoretically, when they get together. But really, they don't deserve to be together. They don't deserve happiness at all, because they're terrible, terrible people. And this guy is one of them. So is she. They're terrible human beings. He breaks into her house and decides to just trash the place by just dragging mud. The thickest, dung-like mud through her entire apartment. Why? I don't know, because I'm going to ruin her life and all of her stuff because we couldn't work it out, because we don't belong together. Therefore, I'm going to ruin her life. I'm going to ruin all her stuff. And then I'm going to just stalk the rest of her life until I find her, and then I'm going to bring her to jail and ruin her life, because, God, it makes me feel good he derives sexual pleasure from this. I'm not saying he does, I just have a theory that he does. But who's he run into? Jason Sudeikis. Okay, so here's the thing. Jennifer Aniston, because I don't remember any of the names in this movie. Jennifer Aniston has a job again where she's a reporter, and she had a guy who was a coworker for her, and with her. It's Jason Sudeikis, and they once at a Christmas party or something drunkenly made out with one another. Well, the problem with that is he caught feelings from that one time where they drunkenly made out with one another, and honestly, I'd be that guy who also caught feelings. I also like to think that I didn't go as far as him, but honestly, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Except for I wear less short sleeves. Well, maybe. I don't know. Where am I going with this? Look, sometimes I get all attached and it gets real sad for me, but that's really depressing for me, and it has nothing to do with any of the story. So Jason Sudeikis does not know how to take no for an answer, and he goes up to her when she walks into the office after we are forced to check her out because this other guy caught feelings with it. Maybe she drunkenly made out with two people at the office party because bald guy is just looking thirsty too. He's looking like he wants to sip out of that cup. One of those sippy cups, like one of those little babies have, a little sippy cup. Is this sounding sexual? Anyway, so Jason Sudeikis comes up to her and is like, yeah, maybe that time, maybe when we're going to go out, that, that thing that we have to do because we love each other, right? Because I totally have feelings for you. And she shuts him down hard because that's who she is as a woman, a harpy. She's a horrible person because she let him on and then totally reneged on that deal. But whatever. It's fine. He's just a laughable joke. You know what? Honestly, I kind of want to do Temptation in this thing, but it's not a rom-com. Is it? I mean, it's a Tyler Perry movie. Does Tyler Perry do non-comedies? That's a good thought for later. Anyway, so she leads him on, and then he doesn't know how to take no for an answer, and has zero boundaries, guys. Zero boundaries. That's why it gets real weird when he totally just rocks up in the ladies' room and talks to her in the bathroom. Like, that's something okay. You can't do that. Who are you, Ben Roethlisberger? You can't just walk into a women's room or a bathroom with a woman who's unwilling to go in there with you and then just totally start talking to her like this is supposed to happen, right? Because then something may happen, and then you'd have to get married off immediately and have a kid, so we don't have to talk about this again. And then you re-up your contract, so you stay in Pittsburgh for another couple of years. That's maybe a little too outside football, baseball, maybe too inside baseball for everyone. Go Steelers. It's go Steelers. Anyway, so Gerard Butler breaks in this woman's house, and who's there? Who breaks in? Who also breaks into her house? Jason frickin' Sudeikis, 'cause zero boundaries, and they have a bit of a heart to heart. And then some stuff happens, and it doesn't matter because I didn't write notes about it. It was just dumb. It was just dumb. But Gerard Butler finds a way through other reasons to the horse race, to the ponies, and he finds her, where he then informs her that hey, he's a bounty hunter, and she's got a bounty on her. Because she didn't show up to a court for that time that she assaulted a cop. Spoiler, by the end of it, you find out that she accidentally brushed up against a horse who happened to be part of the mounted police department. And therefore, because cops sometimes go a little crazy with power, got her arrested or whatever. And then, ha ha ha, that's hilarious, guys. That time she hit a horse with her car. Anyway, so basically, she's like, oh God, you're going to bring me in, and then just bolts. She's just out of there. Gone. Just Splitsville. And then it becomes like a horror movie, because then he chases her down like he's freaking Jason Voorhees. It's real kind of weird, and if you change the music on that scene, it would be that time that guy tried to murder his ex-wife. I'm sure this has happened in Hollywood. But, hey, fun side story, they have lady jockeys. That was kind of progressive. I mean, not really progressive, because really, they should be using women for that more often. Women tend to be shorter than men, on average. I've found a lady who's been taller than me attractive. It happens. I'm also not very tall, so that's a lot of women. Whatever, sadness. But, they tend to be shorter and lighter than men. It's just a thing. Should have been doing this a long time ago. Also, to think about it, a long time ago, they had men playing women parts in plays. Maybe we shouldn't have done that, especially where they get kissy kissy. If you guys say you're not gay, just a thought. Shaky spear. Just a thought. But hey, it's over now, right? So whatever. What happened next? Well, nothing good. So So, so the beginning of this movie has this weird look. It's just really uncomfortable making if you really think about it in any real sense. Where he basically kidnaps a woman, puts her in a trunk, and then drives back, or tries to drive back to bring her in. Now, the thing that makes it weird is that she gets out by setting a flare off in the trunk while the trunk is closed, which, by the way, causes a fire. Just so we all know that. Don't do that. Seriously, don't do that. Especially if there's, like, oil-soaked rags in the trunk. Don't do it. Don't set a fire in the trunk. But there was smoke. Also, she would possibly suffocate. There's just nothing but smoke being expelled and filling up the trunk. Anyways, she gets out of the trunk, punches him in the dick, because we're dick punching this movie, and then runs off. And he totally just tackles her like a dude. And then, and I don't know what happens after that, because they cut, but I assume that he then subdues her and puts her in the car and handcuffs her to the car. See, now the problem with that is a domestic disturbance. That's like some Chris Brown, Rihanna type stuff, and it happens on the side of a highway in New Jersey. And nobody called the cops. Is that believable? I guess it is, because people really don't care. And if there's like cameras rolling on it especially, people really don't. Just like, oh, let me World Star. Got that World Star. Because I watched a video online where some woman beat the crap out of some dude on the subway. And it was funny until it wasn't. And by the way, when it wasn't funny is when she started kicking him in the head. Like hardcore. That was real uncomfortable. Don't start none, won't be none, right? Anyway, so this dude basically kidnaps this woman, sticks her in the trunk, and just takes her off. I mean, he just scoops her up in a parking lot and throws her in the trunk. That's how he got in the trunk in the first place. And nobody called the cops. They're just everyone is cool with this man kidnapping this woman at technically it's there's a bunch of horse races. And if I've learned anything from movies and television, when you go to the racetrack and a bunch of horses are getting racing, that's just a place where shady stuff happens all the time. Nothing but shady stuff. Everything is shady. Everything's real slim shady. Nothing good happens at a racetrack with horses and ponies and all that stuff happening. It's all clandestine, like Tony Soprano's over in the corner. You got Michael Falcone in the background. You got like some dude from other fake mobsters hanging around. There's some dead guy who's like at the 20-yard line at the Giant Stadium, which no longer exists. Then he's there because he's dead. So whatever. It's just nothing good happens there. So I believe that some kidnappings totally happen there, and everyone was like, yeah, it's just Tony taking Rashonda back to something. It just gets real weird. I don't know. It was a very weird scene, because I just feel like somebody would have said something. Or I'd hope that somebody would have said something, but then they probably would have gotten tased or kicked in the dick. Because we dick kick in this movie. That's what we're doing. Dick kicking. But let's see. What happened? I mean, then we rehash that moment where, again, very uncomfortable, and he tackles her like a dude, and then he handcuffs her inside the car. But then she's like, look, okay, I get it. She's got this story she wants to work on, and she's putting her entire life aside. This is probably why she doesn't have kids in this movie. Also, she ran her husband off because they're both terrible people and repel two positively charged magnets. This is what happens. I step all over my words and I get really confused. Oh my god, let's finish this before it gets 1 o'clock. Turns 1 o'clock, becomes 1 o'clock. It is 12:30 in the morning. I need to, Ric Flair, get the hell out of here. And I'm not even into this movie. Look, okay, so what happens next? Oh man, I don't remember a whole lot of nothing, because this is a real bad movie. They're like, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to. Look, this is a movie that takes, legit hour and 40 minutes to go from New Jersey to New York. Like this is, I mean, it's not on the train. It's not that difficult. And I'm sure at some point they're moving south, away from the place that we're supposed to be going because we have to solve her crime, which, by the way, still happened in New York. So why are we in New Jersey? Why are we in New Jersey at all? I don't understand it. I don't know. Because some dude who owns a tattoo parlor lived in... It doesn't make any sense. These people do not understand geography. Also that New Yorkers are so self-important that they can only stay in New York and can't go to Jersey. Because to be fair, Jersey is like the landfill of America. I live in New Jersey. Oh, God, what a horrible place to be. But hey, there's some people who are worth effort, time. I'm not one of them. Anyway, what happened next? Oh, God. I think I should start drinking to get through these movies. I think it would probably make it better. Oh, so there's like this gambling... This is like this gambling ring that happens because, again, Gerard Butler has horrible addiction issues. One of them being alcohol, the other one being gambling. He's got a real problem. And it's never really addressed. It's used, again, as a plot point twice. Once because he needs the money to pay off his gambling debts. So she says, I will pay you this amount of money, and then you can make it up gambling. And then she goes with him as he goes and gambles it, and then I think he screws it up, and then she doesn't get to leave, but he also doesn't get the money, but doesn't really matter, because we wouldn't end the movie before we got all the rest of this dumb stuff. And we didn't solve the crime. But he also has gambling debts, like I said, so his gambling debts have come to a head, and he's got people after him, because he's got to pay, and if you don't pay in money, then they got to break your bones, I guess? I don't know. There's a fat guy, there's a skinny guy. The skinny guy was in The Dark Knight. Is Hispanic? Russian? Foreign? He was a guy. I don't know. He had dogs. He was that guy. But he's, like, English, although in this he's American. They just taking all our jobs. Gadur. But anyway, these two henchmen I found at least slightly entertaining because they are dumb. Because they are horrible, dumb, and bad at their job. The big one got beat by Gerard Butler several times because he's muscle, so he got beat by the guy he's supposed to hassle. Like, he got beat pretty easily because the guy's just big. He's just a big fat guy, not a big strong fat guy. We've all seen Rick Ross, the rapper, not the criminal, although arguably maybe they're both criminals, who knows. But this guy just gets beat, and they pull off the skinnier guy, like, oh, they're both going to go after him, and they don't, the other guy has no idea what he looks like. They get the wrong guy. They end up getting Jason Sudeikis and breaking his leg. Why? Because he still doesn't know how to take no for an answer, and he thinks this woman loves him, and she doesn't. She doesn't give him a time of day. Again, I feel like this is all veering into my life and my experiences. Oh, why do I keep admitting these things on recorded devices? These are good questions. Questions I don't really have answers for. Anyway, so the thing is, this movie, again, terrible. And Jason Sudeikis, horrible character. I don't know what his point was in this movie. He's just there. No, I don't know what his point was in this movie. He's just there to quote unquote get laughs. It's not very funny. I don't know why he's in this movie. I mean, good for him, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so these two henchmen capture... Look, I'm going to jump way ahead in this movie because I just want to go to bed, and it's been almost half an hour talking about this movie all by my lonely. At the end of this thing, somewhere near the end of this movie, they catch Jennifer Aniston. These two lowly henchmen catch Jennifer Aniston, and they take her to a strip club, which is strange, but I guess she was at a tattoo parlor, so would she get caught? So I guess the natural thing that would be around the corner from a tattoo parlor is a strip club. That totally makes sense. Of course, this movie is PG-13, so there's no nudity in the strip club. Because why would that happen? I don't know, but he gets away. Like he finds her. He goes back and gets her. He takes the money from the loan shark or the gambling thing or whatever the proper term for a woman who takes your money when you bet on stuff, and then when you don't pay them back because you are inevitably going to lose all that money, they break your legs or kill you. Whatever the proper term for that is. I don't really know the proper term because I don't care to look it up or to learn it. But he like, I don't know, outdoes the thing and they get away and then they run to that place where they, again, I could be getting this all wrong because it's been a week. That place where they honeymooned because that needed to happen. Why did that need to happen? Because they go to the place where they honeymooned, which, by the way, who honeymoons in Jersey? What are you, broke? You're a reporter and a cop. Cops can make a decent enough salary that they can go somewhere on vacation. I don't know, Montauk. I hear that's a place. Just don't go to New Jersey. You're not even down the shore. What are you doing? It's some weird bed and breakfast. Who takes the honeymoon to a bed and breakfast? Walls are thin in a bed and breakfast. You're just going to sit there and make everybody creepy with your constant honeymoon banging. You're going to bang all honeymoon, nothing but banging, because you're in New Jersey, there's nothing else. There's nothing else to look at. You can go to some gardens and then go back to your room where the people who own it are literally right next door to your room in their bedroom, and you just bang as loud as possible. It's just what you do because you have no inhibitions anymore. You're married. You probably go to the bathroom in front of each other at this point. I don't hate marriage. I just want to point that out. I just hate these people. Oh, and there was a country club. They go to find a guy in a country club. Again, why? Because it's basically like watching like the worst cop drama TV show, except it's like, okay, what it is, it's like SVU in the early years when there was a Stabler and there was a other one. Whose name I can't remember. Let's find out what it is. Let's go on the internet. I'm going to break my not looking up stuff rule, which is not really a rule. Basically because it just requires me to type in 3 letters. Big money, no whammy, no whammy. Stop. Oh, Benson. Okay, so basically this entire movie is like an episode of SVU, except back in like the early days. This entire episode is basically like SVU, but back like in the early days when it was like Benson and Stabler, and they were like there was a lot of sexual tension, like this weird amount of tension and chemistry going off, except for he was married and she was not, and except there's no rape case, but there's a lot of drama. It's like that, and a lot of like red herrings and stuff like that. The kind of thing that you clearly know you need to pad out the hour. So you're gonna write some dumb thing that happens, like, oh, we're going to the kiddie porn ring. Does it have anything to do with the case? No, but we need like 15 minutes where we could talk about something else so that we can get back to the other thing. That's basically what this movie does. It's like, oh man, they throw some distractions at you, like some dumb gambling problem that never really resolves itself, or some alcoholism that never gets addressed again. And then we just take a weird turn and we go to a country club for reasons, and we see that there's a guy that they're looking for whose name they know or whatever, and they get to the caddies, or they start asking people around. They get to the caddies know, well, the one caddy knows, and he bolts because he knows some stuff, and they run across a driving range, which, by the way, I've never seen a driving range. It's a field. It's not a driving range. It's just a field. I've been to a driving range. I've hit some balls at a driving range because I'm a proper adult, although I did it when I was 8. But The thing about a driving range, A, they have little wall dividers, and B, they usually like on levels or something like that, and like nets, so these things don't go wild off to the sides. These kids, these guys, these women and men are just on a field hitting golf balls into a field. And Gerard Butler and some weird caddy come running across the field, and they don't stop because they're monsters. Because everybody in rom-coms are terrible people. Terrible, terrible people. Garbage human beings. That's who populates rom-coms. Garbage, terrible human beings. The worst parts, the dregs of society. Everybody who you like, I hate that guy because he drives too slow in the fast lane, or I hate that guy because you know he spits in my Taco Bell. I know it, you know it. Everybody knows he spits in my Taco Bell. I just want a quesarito that doesn't taste of spit. That's all I want. This guy works at a country club, and he sits there and he hits people with golf balls. That's who that guy is. That's who that guy is. That's that guy. This may have gone in a weird direction. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. The point is, they go to a country club for no good reason. They learn a thing. They call Jennifer Aniston old because women in the 30s, right, guys? I think she was 30 then. I don't know. She might have been 40. I don't care. Maybe it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm sure she like bathes in the blood of the innocent or collagen, something. Doesn't matter. Oh man, these things are gonna break me in half. Look, at the end of this movie, because there's a case they need to solve, they also find out that they love each other, but they don't want to admit it. And then they do want to admit it, and we have that moment where they're like, oh my God, well, they're at the bed and breakfast. They actually do love each other. And they have a good dinner because that will erase the fact that you were married and then broke up and got a divorce and went through all that paperwork. I'm a person who believes if once you commit it to paperwork, you pretty much committed it to forever. Well, then again, I guess it doesn't really work because you commit a wedding and a marriage to paperwork, and you also commit a divorce to paperwork, and then you split up all your stuff. So I guess my analogy doesn't really work. Anyway, look, some things got to stick, you know? You just got to do a thing and then stick to it. So you got married, it didn't work, you got a divorce, and that did work because you were out of each other's lives, except you're painfully obsessed with one another and clearly not moving on with your lives because you don't have anyone currently in your life. You're just a single, lonely person living in your really nicely furnished apartment or wherever Gerard Butler lives, because we don't ever see it, I don't think. But he probably has a much sadder life because he's a man, and men are gross and disgusting, and they will just bathe in their own swill if they had to until a fancy lady comes along, and then they'll wash their taint because... Well, it's nice to it's something you should do for someone. It's common courtesy. Okay, guys, go on a date. Wash your tape. Maybe it might show up. It might get to see the outside world that day. You don't know. Live for the moment. Anyway, these people don't belong together at all. They don't belong together at all. Not one iota, and yet they find their way to love because they had a nice dinner. And then we have that moment in every rom-com or any like half the romantic movies, something like that, where something happens and somebody says something and it's not fully explained, and one of the characters leads to a massive assumption, and then they're angry, hateful again, and she handcuffs him, because there's a lot of handcuffing to beds in this movie, and it's a little uncomfortable for something that doesn't turn into weird raunchy sex. It doesn't at all. It doesn't even lean in that direction ever. I feel cheated that there wasn't some weird raunchy stuff happening with handcuffs and beds. I'm a little angry about it. Not that I want to see any of it. God knows I want Jennifer Aniston to keep all her clothes on, and I want Gerard Butler to, really keep all his clothes on, because he's not Leonidas. And I didn't want to see Leonidas naked either. Lena Headey, though. We're talking about a different movie. Not a rom-com. Not important. Moving right along. What else happened in this movie? So he got a phone call. She overheard the phone call. He said something to his boss, like, I'm going to totally bring her in. Like, whatever. I'm just trying to get my rocks off kind of thing. That's what it sounded like. That's what she thought she heard. So she screws him over, handcuffs him to a bed because she can, because that's what happens. That's how these people express love in their lives. They handcuff each other to objects that they can't move. Why? Because they're broken individuals and don't belong together. Although, then again, I guess because they both did the handcuff thing, maybe they're perfect for each other and totally belong together because they're both garbage human beings. Are you getting that they think these people are garbage? I think they're garbage, though. I think they're terrible people. They're horrible, horrible people. Anyway, so then they solved the case because turns out they thought the black guy did it. Well, he was somehow implicated, but really, he didn't. Thank God, or I would have been super pissed off at this movie, by the way, because they have one black friend. They have one black friend. There's one black person in all of New York in this movie. One black person. Does he have a wife? I don't know. Probably not, because he couldn't afford to hire a black woman. Also, black women totally get the short end of the stick when it comes to getting roles in Hollywood. Ask Lupita Nyong'o, because normally you win an Oscar and you get all kind of leading roles. Or you don't if you're black. Ask Halle Berry. Anyway, but I know who you can't ask. Jennifer Lawrence. She gets all the roles. She won an Oscar. Depression. What's next? Anyway, so the end of this movie ends up with a shootout in an evidence locker in New York, where a black guy shows up. Turns out he wasn't evil. He wasn't bad. He was doing his job, but he's trying to be on the low-low with it. Because honestly, some dirty, foul stuff going on, and he needs to be a little bit quiet about it on the hush-hush. These are terms I don't understand, but I think I looked them up on, like, Urban Dictionary. And he gets knocked out. And, of course, Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston need to save the day because they're the stars of this movie. And then Gerard Butler somehow screws something up. Jennifer Aniston pulls a gun out of the evidence locker. It's a shotgun. It's a shotgun. I think it's a John Gotti shotgun. Either way, it's evidence. And for some reason, loaded. It's a loaded shotgun in the evidence locker. That seems like a bad idea. And poor evidence storage. And she fires the gun. She fires the gun more than once. She fires the gun into evidence. Like into a box of evidence. She just blows it apart with birdshot, or buckshot, or, well, it wasn't solid shot. It was some kind of shot. She ruined evidence. It was probably DNA evidence. It's probably why OJ got off. Who knows? But it was, oh man. I don't even remember what happened to the loan shark or gambling ring enforcer types. They lost all the money, I guess that's what it was, and they just went away. And then then these two idiots bungle their way into solving a crime, and yay, and they love each other again, except for they're like, oh yeah. The end of this movie is kind of amazing though. Okay, let's talk about the end of this movie. And then I'm going to get the heck out of here, because I got to go to bed. The end of this movie is amazing, because what happens is they find out they love each other. They're still in love. Oh my God, we love you. I love you. You love each other. We're totally in love. And they're like, yeah, we're going to keep our lives together and how much we're in love. And say, oh, we're not going to let work come between us and our love. We're just going to have to focus on our jobs. We focus on our jobs and focus on love. We focus on love. It's a thing. We can totally work this out. And he's like, yeah, we totally need to work this out like that. But sometimes work's just going to come first. And by the way, she's one of the dumbest human beings ever if she doesn't know where this is going. But she doesn't know where this is going and totally gets locked up in prison or jail. And she gets locked up in jail because the entire movie is she's got a bounty out on her. She needs to show up because she's got warrants. Thank God this wasn't a movie about black people. And thank God the only black person in this movie isn't guilty of anything. Isn't guilty of anything. I mean, he's probably guilty of something. Probably not wearing a condom when he should have. But in this movie, he didn't do anything. They did stuff. But she gets put in jail, and Gerard Butler goes outside feeling all confident because he's got his woman and a payday. I guess he's got his woman. I'm not really sure because she's got locked up, and she might spend a year in jail either way, he goes and finds that cop, the cop he punched out or whatever in the beginning of the movie. The cop says something about him, and he decks the cop real hard and gets slapped up into prison too. Well, again, jail. And they just make out in between the bars because it's their anniversary. Because guess what, guys? Guess what? It was their anniversary. They went to the thing, the bed and breakfast where they totally ruined everybody's time by smashing out as loud as possible back in the day. They went back there. They went back there on their anniversary. Then they got locked up together on their anniversary. And now they're going to spend a year in prison alone, not with each other. But when they get out, I'm sure it'll happen around the same time. And then you know what? They'll embrace each other and kiss because it's their anniversary. I hate this movie. I hate this movie. This movie's garbage. A little hyperbolic. I understand that. I'm gonna take a nap now. I'm gonna get up and go to work. At some point in time, I'm gonna post this. I think. I don't know. Anyway, go. Let's stop. This movie's bad. This movie's bad. I just like whoever wrote this movie has no idea how crime works, how papers work, how cop work works. They just watched a whole bunch of television and then transcribed a dumb movie, thinking all the things they thought they saw on television or surmised on watching like Monk or something equally as stupid. They thought that's how the crime works, that's how life works. Let's just do that. They're the worst. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here because I'm slightly going delirious. It's like I had 6 beers or something like that. I'm a little whacked out. This is what happens when I get tired. That's why I don't really drink that much. Because it's like I'm drunk. Just by sleep deprivation. Why am I telling you this? Are we friends? Do I know you? Will I need this pick up? Anyway, let's get out of here. By let's, I mean me. unapotatovids@gmail.com. Yeah. Because I got that page on YouTube that's Una Potato Media. That's a thing that I have. There's some videos there. Stuff happens on them. Does that message intrigue you? You should go check it out then. If it doesn't intrigue you, you should check it out because you need to learn to have some more morbid curiosity. Just in general. It's a life lesson. unapotatovids@gmail.com. Got emails? Hit me up with some emails. Tell me some things. Tell me how bad this episode is. Tell me how garbage it is because I half asleep yammered through a terrible movie about terrible people who are terrible. And then ended in a lackluster, horrible fashion. And clunkily talks about some stuff. Anyway, so rosariumpublishing.com. Should go there. Check out some of the books and comics. And if you feel the inclination, click on that Indiegogo campaign for Rosarium Publishing. And, if you got some monies, send them some monies. They would like some monies. And, you're supporting the arts. Support the arts. Because we should definitely support the arts. Hey, you know what they say? If Hitler wasn't denied from that art school, we wouldn't have had the Holocaust. It's food for thought. Bye.